speaking to the retailer, how you're bringing them statistical data that says this product is meeting this consumer where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why we feel this would be a great partnership with you.
Sure.
And then the second part of marketing is how that package lifts off the shelf and sells.
Right.
So how are you working in the social media space? How are you really connecting people to where they can get your product? So product awareness is a big piece of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's almost like it's holistic, right? So it's all of these aspects are connected.
Sure.
They're all important. It's just, they're all just part of that system.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about your business as a whole, as this overall system, how is that being supported? That's in your branding. So the branding is the overarching piece that connects it all. And so if you start to think about it like that all of these pieces are interconnected, then all of a sudden you can come up with a really powerful goal. And then from that goal, you figure out what your strategies are of where you're going to go at retail. And then your tactics are the creativity about like, how are you going to get it off the shelf? Are you going to do promotions? Are you going to demo it? Are you going to have influencers eat it on social media and then tell people what they think about it, right?
Right.
And it's almost like there's limitless creativity. So I would encourage any brand who's launching in the plant-based space to be as disruptive as possible. Show up and change the world through your positioning. You don't have to be everything. You can just be the one thing that you are. And that is enough. If all of us come together, then all of a sudden we have a more sustainable future.
Hi, Kate. Good morning. How are you?
Hi, good morning. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much. How is everyone at home?
It's doing well. Everything is going well. My little one is in the other room drawing. So we'll see how soundproof our interview is.
Right. Must be holidays for him, right? The Christmas break and the New Year's break.
Yeah, but happy to be here. Grateful to be part of the sustainability conversation.
Awesome. Really appreciate your time, Kate, on this call. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, viewers. Good morning. Welcome to the new episode of Sustainable Future Food Talk. Today, we have with us Kate Cash from the US. Kate is a sales executive who has acquired more than 13 years of experience in the world of fast-paced CPG industry. Her broad-based skill set includes analysis of the health of your business, key account and broker sales and relations, creating strategic sales plans, rebranding, and methods for training and management for the third-party personnel. While she loves the challenge of invigorating existing businesses, Kate is particularly excited about working with innovative startups, which is why she's launching Pro Pasta, a nutritious plant-based frozen meal in the States in 2022 as the VP of Sales with Nepra Foods. Nepra Foods brings innovation to the table with allergen and gluten-free, 100% plant-based bulk ingredient sales. Kate, I mean, you have an extensive experience in the CPG industry in the US. So if you can please suggest a few tips for the emerging brands to identify the right target audience, or how can a person define the customer persona in the natural food space?
Yeah, definitely. I think a really great place to start is to look at global trends of how consumers are shifting their eating and their thinking, especially since a lot of people are shifting to a more healthy lifestyle, looking at overall wellness as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Then really identifying who that customer is, why they're eating your product, and then picking a couple key accounts to really go after in the US market.
Mm-hmm.
So as opposed to coming in and just launching naturally, so speed to shelf, right? As fast as you can, all of a sudden you're really rooting down, getting connected to what resonates with your customer and where they're shopping, and moving from that place first, and then really studying those stores, studying what sales prices work, what pricing works, what language works, pieces like that in order to really gain traction, because then you take those studies and then you can slowly, piece by piece, grow organically in the natural channel.
Okay, interesting. So, I mean, since you have observed various markets in the past in the US, so how do you see the changing food landscape in the US, especially with the penetration of plant-based foods?
There's such a huge amount of plant-based innovation going on right now. It's really great. I think the leaders that are going to come out ahead are going to be the ones that bring choice to the market, make it really easy for people to eat plant-based foods, and that offer nutrition first.
Okay.
So really looking at the overall wellness of the consumer and how they feel about after they eat, how their body feels after they eat. So almost looking at a holistic aspect of plant-based, not just bringing yet again another high sodium GMO soy-based product to market.
Sure.
Where innovation comes first and innovation in taste and nutrition are second, right?
Right, of course. So, I mean, based on our previous conversation, since you also personally believe a lot in sustainability, and of course, it is an important element in the coming time. So, I mean, what are those non-negotiables for an emerging CPG brand to consider around overall sustainability factor?
So for me, sustainability means that you make the best choice in the moment for the business,
Sure.
and that you think about the overall health of the earth, right? So you want to make choices that make sense for your business, get your packaging to be as sustainable as possible, but also that you can afford that packaging.
Right.
So really looking at like your overall cost of goods, and then making the choices that one will get you enough impact in the market so that you can become a leader and a titan. And then all of a sudden, once you're big and you're stable, you can continue to make more sustainable choices each day. Almost like you're having a little bit of compassion for the business in that sustainability conversation. Is it affordable? Does it make sense? If you're throwing it away, it's not really sustainable, right?
Right.
So you have to really think about all of that.
Right. So a follow-up question on this, of course, I mean, overall, it is seen as, let's say, if a brand is consciously working around sustainability. So, I mean, based on your experience in the market, is it that a sustainable packaging is always expensive, or a sustainable food is always expensive, or is it just a myth?
It will just depend. I mean, each ingredient is going to have a different cost and availability,
Right.
and its scalability.
Sure.
So it just depends. Packaging that I was asking for, 10 years ago in the industry did not exist. But I had the conversations with the packaging people because I told them, if enough of us ask for this, we're going to be able to get it.
Right.
And all of a sudden you see pulp fiber trays that are affordable-ish, right? I mean, there's still more money. It's still costing you in your margin.
Right.
But all of a sudden you can make those choices where you're pulp-based as opposed to plastic-based.
Right.
Tiny shifts. So if sustainability is the micro shifts that all of us are making, not only the manufacturers, not only the global leaders, but the individuals are saying, I'm going to make these tiny shifts for sustainability in my life, which is why you're seeing so many plant-based innovations.
Right.
It's because cost, health, and overall sustainability of our earth is what's really resonating with our customers. So in which case, find where those people are shopping and go sell into retail there.
Interesting. That's a great point. It's a great point. Thanks. So coming down to my next question, this is also on a bit personal front. So since we are nearing the end of 2021 now, so what goals have you set for yourself? Maybe one personal, one professional goal.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so a professional goal is so Pro Pasta is this plant-based frozen meal, and we're
Okay.
launching it in 2022. So my professional goal is to really form some solid relationships with retailers, like-minded individuals, and customers
Mhm.
who really want to support eating nutritious food made easy.
Right.
And then as a personal goal, I moved back to Colorado in January. And so after I had my son 4 years ago, my pelvis shifted on 3 planes. So for
Okay.
18 months, it was almost like I was physically in pain and almost crippled.
Mhm.
And so now that I am, healed and whole again, I want to climb mountains.
Wow, that's really lovely, lovely, awesome. So wish you all the best for both your personal as well as professional goals, and I'm sure you'll get there.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate being part of the conversation.
Awesome. So coming down to my next question, Kate. So what are those important aspects for a natural CPG brand to consider while designing its marketing and branding strategies?
So if you think about branding, that would be your overall positioning in the
Sure.
space.
Mhm.
So how are you going to show up and communicate with your customer?
Mhm.
So then really looking at like SPINS data and Nielsen data, and really like honing in on who that customer is. Now, marketing has about two aspects to it. There's marketing, and I'm in sales, so marketing is connected
Mhm.
because how you get the product on the shelf is marketing.
Right.
That's how you're speaking to the retailer, how you're bringing them statistical data that says this product is meeting this consumer where they are.
Mhm.
And this is why we feel this would be a great partnership with you. And
Sure.
then the second part of marketing is how that package lifts off the shelf and sells. So
Right.
how are you working in the social media space? How are you really connecting people to where they can get your product? So product awareness is a big piece of that.
Mhm.
Um, and so it's almost like it's holistic, right? So it's all of these aspects are connected.
Sure.
They're all important. It's just they're all just part of that system. So
Mhm.
if you think
Mhm.
about your business as a whole, as this overall system, how is that being supported? That's in your branding. So the
Right.
branding is the overarching piece that connects it all.
Sure.
Um, and so if you
Okay.
start to think about it like that all of these pieces are interconnected, then all of a sudden you can come up with a really powerful goal. And
Sure.
then from that goal, you figure out what your strategies are of where you're going to go at retail. And then your
Mhm.
tactics are the creativity about like, how are you going to get it off the shelf? Are you going to do promotions? Are you going to demo it? Are you going to have influencers eat it on social media and then tell people what they think about it, right?
Right.
And it's almost like there's limitless creativity. So I would
Right.
encourage any brand who's launching in the plant-based space to be as disruptive as possible. Show up and change the world through your positioning. You don't have to be everything. You can just be the one thing that you are. And that is enough. If all of us come together, then all of a sudden we have a more sustainable future.
Right. Brilliant one. Brilliant one. On this, I have a follow-up question. So, I mean, of course, based on your experience, of course, in the market, it's very important to have, let's say, such marketing strategies wherein, of course, the offtake or the offtake from the stores is really important. So, has the marketing strategies for the growing brands changed pre-pandemic and post-pandemic? Have you observed any difference in the marketing plans?
Yes. So the money shifted from demoing in the store
Mm-hmm.
and it shifted all to social media to connect to the consumers where they were. the focus became a little bit split because then all of a sudden there's this e-commerce opportunity that was not there before. You also found that brand loyalty after the post-pandemic in the US was lower. So people were shifting not only what retailers they shopped at because they were trying to do one-stop shopping, but also there was less brand loyalty. So if they couldn't get the product that they always get, they were buying something else.
Right.
So that's all post-pandemic. Now all of a sudden we have in the US, 30% of Americans purchased a secondary freezer during the pandemic because frozen food it's a safe way to preserve food. But also if you're thinking about all of the out of stock issues at the beginning of the pandemic, people want food security. They wanted to know that they had easy ways of feeding themselves and their family. So post-pandemic, it means that the frozen aisle is still going to be a really strong player because people now know that they have easy options. They're working from home. So instead of eating takeout 2 or 3 times a week, they're eating frozen meals 2 or 3 times a week. So those tiny shifts and supporting those tiny shifts of the consumer of how are we feeding them at home? Are they snacking more at home, right? Like really digging into data in order to position yourself post-pandemic is powerful, but also don't just take that anomaly year. So if you want to look at good statistics, pull 2019 up until 2023. And then look at the overarching story. So don't just look at, there was a 550% lift of chocolate chip cookie dough. During the height of the pandemic, right?
Not the right comparison.
Yeah, like you're only looking at one little number, and I'm like, well, that's nice. But like, what's actually happening now, like with our customers? How are they shifting their eating? Because you noticed even in non-alcoholic beverages, like there was a spike of alcohol, and then all of a sudden people were like, well, wait a minute. I don't feel as good if I'm drinking a ton. So all of these non-alcoholic beverages or even adaptogen beverages are just skyrocketing. Because it's all about this one little piece of how things make you feel. So when you're strategizing using the pandemic, I would go a little bit broader. Look at where we were before the pandemic, where we are now, and then where we're going for the future.
And now since last 2 years have passed by, and so of course people have started now consciously looking at these points, right? So I mean, going forward also people would be conscious enough, and they would look for such innovative marketing plans as to what works best for them now, right?
And what works best for, especially with emerging brands, they always look at what other people are doing. And I'm like, well, that's great. Look at what they're doing, but then look at how you're going to bring creativity to the space, bring innovation to the space, and really find your own way as opposed to doing it the way that everybody else has been doing it. Like become a leader, and the way that you do that is you make your own path. So you get creative and you get connected and you use science and fact behind everything that you do. Absolutely. But that your sales strategy becomes a work of art. And then people are like, who is that person? What are they doing? And how are they showing up? And then all of a sudden it's exciting. I've seen a lot in the 13 years I've been doing this.
And that will ultimately make the difference, right?
What?
And ultimately that will make a difference.
It makes a difference. Well, and also it keeps it interesting for the consumer. If we wanted another one of the brand we already have, then that's what we would ask for. I mean, it's all about our future, right?
Of course.
So it's all about how we make these sustainable business choices, and we care for our planet so that our kids can have a future.
Right.
It's high stake. It's almost heartbreaking how high stake it is to make change in this world. But that if we all come together and we share in our global community our knowledge and our wisdom and our insight, then all of a sudden there's hope.
I agree.
Thank you.
Totally. So coming down to my last question for this session, and of course, this is a personal question now. So since you, Kate, yourself, you are a yogi. So, I mean, how has yoga helped you in your personal and professional life, and how important is it to practice on an everyday basis?
I mean, that's a loaded question, right? I think it's incredibly important to move your body and your mind. And yoga has so many different aspects to it that are not the asana.
Right.
Just really getting connected to your breath. So the prana, that vital life force inside of all of us. So just breathing.
Yes.
And if you think about in business, how are you moving your body? How are you yoking, right? So yoga, it means to yoke. So what are you connecting? Are you connecting yourself with others? Are you connecting your brand with other people? So really just deeply connecting to yourself first, and then the other. And that's enough. That's how change starts. It's just the beginning of a conversation, and all of the other aspects are going to fall into place. But if you're running around disconnected from yourself and you're not caring for yourself in a way that keeps you vibrant and vital, then all of a sudden it doesn't really, the other pieces don't really matter.
Right.
So the asana practice has supported me professionally for years. That after baby, that shifted a ton to more structural, like PT and Pilates and Tai Chi, right? But that breathing practices of really just breathing with myself and breathing with other people during stressful business times. All of a sudden, if you're a yogi, you want a yogi in your business office.
Oh, absolutely.
You want a yogi to be holding that space. So when it's uncomfortable, transformation is about to happen, right? But it's chaos and it's ugly and it's stressful. But that is why change happens.
Oh, absolutely.
So I don't know if that's how you feel about yoga as an overall practice.
I so much agree with you, and I really like the way you correlated yoga and business. So I really liked it. Thank you for this.
Thank you, Dhawal. I appreciate being part of this conversation. I appreciate being in community with others. I'm Kate Cash on LinkedIn. You can find me there. And like continue these conversations with other people. I think it's a gift to be able to share just a conversation with someone. Yes. I think that's enough to spark change.
You're right. Wow. And the kind of responses, I mean, which you gave were really incredible. And I'm sure this will be super useful for our viewers also. So thank you so much once again. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You have a great day ahead.
You too.
Thanks.